Okay, welcome back. Here we go. I have the first 4 walls glued together. I don't have the pilasters on yet or anything like that, but I was sitting here last night and I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and start gluing these together. So this is wall A, wall B. This is wall D1. Now I kind of glued them together right here. I used canopy glue up along, got them together. There were some areas I had to do some sanding, and as I expected, let me just slowly pan over here to see wall C. Wall Charlie is here. It looks a little rough now. I don't have, like I said, I don't have the pilasters in anything like that. And I did, as I expected, some of these dovetails, or whatever you want to call them, biscuit joiners. Because of the cut and it wasn't all that accurate, I did do a little bit of sanding to make them fit, which didn't surprise me. I kind of expected that, but they're together. They seem pretty sturdy. One thing I did, well, actually 2 things I overlooked that I'll mention. I went ahead and framed the door openings. This is some 3/32 channel from Northeastern Scale lumber, painted. Pens are gray. This will be a door, so that's fine. What I forgot on this opening, it's not a door, it's going to be this, this loading dock panel. Well, this is a channel. So what I had to do to make it nice and flush, wasn't really hard, not a huge deal. I'll try to lay this down and see if, again, these walls are pretty sturdy, but I still might add some bracing. But what I had to do on here, I just came in with the X-Acto scalpel type, chisel type blade, and zoop, zoop, and that wood piece came right off. The adhesive, the glue was inside the channel, so it wasn't that, lip of the channel wasn't even glued on. So anyway, it's just minor thing, but I did want to make sure that this is going to flush up properly. Okay, so that was one oversight, but not insurmountable. That was literally like a 20-second fix. One of the better ones I've done. Another one that I did forget, and let me show you why this piece is here. This is another piece. This is one of the ones that I cut off in making the 5 stories. I had to take it out and get it painted because sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't. All right. When I do the transition, which is here, okay, from the 5 to the 4 stories, one thing I forgot about was that I need to do something to go back because, okay, this is wall D1. This is where it's going to be, and you can kind of see what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut a little bit of a notch out from this, and then what I'm going to do, because the 4-story piece, it's going to fit in here. Da, 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 da. But as you can plainly see, okay, that's going to interfere there. Now, I could cut this off entirely. I could notch into this, or what I'm deciding to do is I'm going to notch, and this should be easy with that saw. Is my hand in the way? Probably is. Go on, you dummy. And then this piece, I'm going to try to show this here and not the... So if it's notched like that and I leave a little bit of that dovetail, I don't know what the hell I call it. See, that'll sit right there. Okay, so that'll be the part that goes back to the back. I have 2 brick panels. I can fill them in easily. Will that stand up there? Or will it, it's going to fall. But you can see it's the right height. It'll go right to the top of this one. I may be able to hold this and just kind of show. So that's going to fit together. And then this is going to sit in. Okay, sorry. Move the camera so they can see, Rob. So you can see how it'll fit. It'll be okay. I'll brick this, and then if I just, cover this up to cover the little dovetail there with some of the... I'm really holding this camera bad today. Sorry, guys. So that's how I'm going to fix that little issue, because I forgot about that. But again, shouldn't be a major thing to do. And I think with that cool little saw, I should be able to make this notch fairly easily. Now what I'm considering is, do I want to come across the back side and maybe reinforce the joint between the panels? I'm certainly going to have to do something up here horizontally. For example, if I take a little piece of 1/4 inch, you know, something's going to go across there to put the roof on. So there will be some horizontal bracing. Do I want to do additional horizontal bracing? Do I really need to? Am I getting concerned, or am I, getting overcautious? Do I want to put one at the bottom to kind of give me some support, or just right across here? I don't know. I'm just kind of, I'll probably do something that'll be way overkill, but like I said, I at least need something here to go across so I can put the roofs on. I don't know. I would like to reinforce these. They're pretty strong, but I mean, it's easy enough to do it when it's here, right? I might as well do it. I got plenty of 1/4 inch or 3/8. 3/8 is huge. I don't want to buy any more. I really would like to have some 094 by 1/2. It'll sit in there real nice. Then I could put the horizontal stuff in. Or maybe put the horizontal stuff in and cut pieces to fill in between. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just kind of babbling. But again, it's something I want to think about. Now, these panels, like I said, once you get them together, I'm going to try this with one hand and the camera and on a wing and a prayer. I don't know if I can get it to come up with one hand. Okay, they're pretty darn sturdy. Now I'm not going to sit here and try to twist them and deflect them and bend them, but I got them relatively straight. Hey, good enough for Rob Bennett tolerances. Alright, so that's the wall D1. That's the final 5th story wall. I know it's a little bit dark here. Again, I don't have the greatest light here on this side of the shop. Alright, and like I said, I did glue them down, face down. I actually started gluing them like this, just running a bead up. Some squeezed out, not a big deal. I just kind of wiped it off. And again, these are going to be covered, with pilasters and whatnot. And then even like this, because of the acetate, it's a little bit off, just enough that it wasn't totally flush. So I then came in and just, once it's set up for a little bit, flipped it over, because then it was nice and flush, unless you put, channel around a door opening. And then like this, held it up. I couldn't clamp it. I don't have anything, a clamp that's 1 foot long that I can put across that. But again, the canopy glue sets up relatively quick. And then I just let it alone overnight to dry up. So I think it's going to be pretty good. But I do want to do some kind of bracing. So, alright, so not bad. So they went together fairly well. I think the other walls, all of the as-applied 4 stories, are going to be a lot easier because I don't have any cuts in it. And I actually did try a couple, and they seem to click together really nice. So that should be a bunch easier. Again, the issue that I had was in some of the doves, or the joints, is because of the fact that these are added to the top, and you got the saw blade. I didn't do it exactly the same. I sanded some more than others, so they were off a little bit. I'm not terribly much, but enough that I had to touch it up a little bit. So all right. Whew, alright, the first 4 walls are done. So now let's continue on. I got to decide what to do in terms of bracing for floors, for ceilings, because I would like to do some interior details. Not a lot, because you're not going to see it. One of the things I'm learning is, yeah, interior details sound great, and let's make a removable roof and spend 45 years detailing it. But you know what? Unless you're trying to show off or make models only for photography to, ooh and ah people on YouTube and the internet, people aren't really going to see it. You just can't see it very well through here. So yeah, I will do it. I'm just going to scale it back so it's enough so you can, yep, there's an interior in there. People can go, oh, look at that. Like I said, most people, when they're here operating, it's like, oh, that's great, Rob. Where's the boxcar I'm going to drop off? What's my next move? They want to operate. They don't really want to sit there and gawk at interiors that are really, really hard to see. All right, anyway, that's a real tangent I went off on. So, all right, more to come as we forge ahead with the actual assembly of the building. Alrighty, here's the first mock-up of it. Nothing's together yet. I'm still kind of noodling around what I want to do in the back for some bracing for floors and the roof and everything. I think I'm going to use 1/4-inch square because I have a lot of it. Just because I have it. Anyway, so you can see kind of the shape of it. I've been doing a couple things, trying to verify some dimensions and just kind of get a feel for what it's going to look like. Again, this side over here will be right along the viaduct, and that's why I got the, it's hard to see, I know it's hard, but here's the one with the door. I'll go down to the viaduct. So again, I still need to figure out what I want to do. Probably come in here and also put in some vertical corner pieces here and here. Probably cut a piece to go back here. That's one of the reasons I wanted to have it set up, because I have it grounded back against here. It's the way it's going to be on the layout, back against the backdrop. And I want to verify my dimension here, which is 3 inches. You get it together and it's not 3 inches per panel, because I think you lose the cutout, because this particular wall, which is 3 panels, 3, 6, 9, 12, it's not 12 inches, it's less. Not a big deal, it's just less. So what I'm going to probably come up with then is take something like this. This is 1/4 inch, and I just had this, so it was around. I'm going down to my main man, Bill Schopf, over the weekend. He's going to help me cut some pieces for the viaduct, because I can't rip things or cut wider than 8 inches or so because of my miter saw. So I'm going to have him, this I'll probably use, I'll have him rip this to 3 inches, because then I can cut the lengths, that's not a problem. And then I'll use these pieces, you know, back, maybe not right there, but back along there as the supports on the back side, back to the backdrop. Because I don't think I'm going to put a floor, or I should say anything here on the base. I really can't, because this is going to be open for cars coming in. I just want to get a feel for what it's going to look like. So, alright, so there's the first look at the one end. That's wall A, B, C, and D1. So then after here, jumps down to 4 stories and continues on with all those walls right there. Alright, just a little bit, so I think I want to get the back pieces, the back 1/4-inch pieces on, glued, dried, and then I'll probably lay it down, because I still can get it relatively flat, and then where I can put on the pilastra pieces on these walls. And then when that sets up quick. You slap some canopy glue on it and it's dry, you know, within an hour easy. Actually less than that. And then get it all up, get this portion glued together. I do got to figure out how I think I'm going to use my typical white archival mat board as the floors. It's not super sturdy. I don't think I really need anything super sturdy, but it's easy to cut, easy to fit. I can maneuver it around, you know, get it in there, and that could be the floor. Give it a quick coat of craft acrylic paint. And again, you're not going to see a whole lot in there, but I do need to figure out what I'm going to do for lighting, and if, you know, crossing here on these, if I want to put any just some details, any interior details. Again, you're not going to see a lot once it's all together, but definitely need some lighting for sure. So, okay, more to come. Just kind of want to show this and kind of my thought process here as we're working through this. Alright, we're back, making progress here. So what I decided to do for the interior of the 5-story sections, to set my roof and the interior floors, I glued in 1/4-inch pieces. These are from, I think I got this from Northeast Scale Lumber. I have some from Lowe's, but they're kind of warped, imagine that. So I set these up. I decided to put this one a 1/2 inch down. These are spaced 1 3/4 inches. It just looked kind of good for where the floors are going to sit. So I have those all glued in and set up. They're also there horizontally, since the main joints on the walls are vertical, they would tend to want to deflect in that direction. So that really firmed these walls up. They're pretty sturdy now. They were pretty sturdy before, actually. I may take some more and actually come along the vertical joints. I don't know. I'm not sure it's needed, but it's only a dowel. It's not hard to do or take some time, and then these things will be rock solid. So to do this, I had to set the dimensions I wanted. So I decided, let me bring in wall D1 here as our sample. So I went with a 1/2 inch dimension here. I just use a scale rule. I was looking for something I could use as a guide to set it. I don't have any good 1/2 inch stuff, and I can't really rip anything accurately to do that. So I just use a scale rule. Set one side, the other side, tacked it in. Again, I use canopy glue. I like that stuff. Then I did make up a spacer. This is 1 3/4 inch, 1 3/4. I was going to wait till later on today. I'm going down to my main man, Bill Schopf. He's going to help me cut some lumber. More for the viaduct, but a couple pieces for the factory. So I went ahead. I did have an 1.5 inch piece. That's pretty accurate. And a 1/4 inch piece. Well, okay, they're 1 3/4. So I get this piece in, then I set that in at this end to set that location. I could slide it along, get that end in, hold that down, let it tack. Same thing here, get that set in. Okay, all right. Worked fine. Worked fine. My main concern being this one, because this is the roof. These are for the floors, and if they're off a little bit, probably not a huge deal. And it does turn off, does turn out, that on wall B, I am off a little bit. And I think I can see why, because this is actually, it's hard, it's a little bit loose in there, where these are, see, I can get it in there, but it's a little bit snug. I mean, I can't get it. There we go. All right, it's anyway. So I was off a little bit. Things move a little bit when you glue it, put weights on it, but okay, not a big, huge deal. This one's a little bit low. These two actually, because a little bit loose, so I may have to come in here. I'll see how the floor looks. I'm just going to use a piece of that archival mat across here for the floors. It may not be a big deal. I could always shim here if I have to. Just cut a little strip. It's about a 32nd, maybe a 16th. It isn't a lot. So I'm not sure how much the floors will teeter. Not a huge deal. They're interior floors. As long as they don't move, it's not going to be a big deal. Across here, I'm not as bad. Taking a scale rule and kind of holding it across, and across here, across all of these here. It's not bad. I think it'll be okay. And again, if the roof is off, a 32nd here or there, you're not going to know. Once I get the glue in and get this thing together, hopefully, it's not going to move. So I should be okay with that. All right. For the corners, I am going to put in, probably on sheet B here, what I'm probably going to diddly do, I cut some 3/8, and that's lined up to go in, come up flush with the top, so that's going to come in up there. Oh, sorry, and come in here, so this will flush up here. And that'll give me a nice corner piece. So I put 2 pieces. I'll probably glue these in on sheet B and then bring the building up and get it all together. I was going to put them in later, but that could be kind of cumbersome to do all that. But if at least I get them on one sheet, one here, one here. I have one cut for sheet A where it's going to sit against the wall. And this isn't the way, I just put them together. I was curious how this looks, so that's not the way it's going to sit. This edge of A, since it gets the wall, so I also have one there. Just because I have the wood, I might as well use it, right? All right. So that should be all right for that. And then let me do a quick pause and I'll just kind of show you what I'm thinking to do for the roof. And then once I get that cut, this thing's pretty much ready to come up and go together. So let me get the roof sheet out and show you that. Dun, da, da. Okay, this is a sheet 12 by 24, 3/32 aircraft grade plywood I bought from Micromark. I also bought some 1/4 inch. That's like kind of like Lowe. This Micromark 1/4 inch plywood's warped as crazy, but I may be able to use it. One sheet's okay. The other sheet's really bad. I think if I cut it, maybe I'll relieve some of the warpage. I don't know. It just anyway. So I have this sheet, and I'm going to cut. I can get a whole panel out, and I'll cut that out, and that will be the roof for the ABC section. Over here, that'll be a nice square piece here for that. Then from the other side of this, I'll cut strips 2 7/8 long, or Bill will cut them for me because I can't rip them. And they'll be the roof for the long part here. I also have a portion I'm going to probably set in from a Walther's kit. But anyways, once I have the strips and that, I can noodle around, you know, how I want to do that. I have on the wall D1, again, the front part to support it. So what I'm probably going to do on that wall, let me just kind of zoom back. You know, my maniacal thought process here. So for wall D1 and D2, which are the long back ones, what I'll probably do, where am I? Oh, there it is. I'm probably going to come in with pieces out of here, because this is only 2 7/8 back. You know, I'm going to talk about the dimensions. It threw me a little bit, but anyway. So it's 2 7/8, so I might make little pieces of 1/4 inch plywood that I could put in there that'll support it. I don't think the moment arm, whatever, or the mechanical engineering term that would be, I think if I glue them in, that'll be fine. And then I can support the roof coming back, and if I come in here, that'll help support the floors. I was worried about coming up and putting something like, for crying out loud, it's just a freaking piece of cardboard for the floor. It's not going to go anywhere. Alright, so that's what I'm probably going to do for this one. Similar for the rest of the factory that continues the 4-story portion. You know, the roof piece will be there. I'm not going to worry about floors on that side because that's all manufacturing. It's just, you know, kind of like a high bay with lights up above. So it'll just be the piece for the roof. So I may need to run up with, again, with 2 5/8 1/4 inch pieces long enough just to glue in there to support the roof in there. Otherwise that may sag. It's going to be a longer run. So I may need to fiddle around with that a little bit. So that's the plan for that. Get that out of the way. And the plan for the roof, in one side, strips. So let me mention something that you need to know, I think, about the dimensions of this. I was thrown for a little bit. I started measuring things and I'm going, what's going on? But anyway, let me assemble this quickly and kind of show you what I mean. Alright, so there it is, kind of put together. The mock-up, again, not glued yet. Now here's what I noticed. Now I was measuring this thing, and I was kind of figuring out, because what I was trying to do was figure out how to cut the wood pieces, the 1/4 inch pieces. I need to know how long to make them, you know, when it's all together, the inside dimensions, if I use that 3/8 corner, how long should I cut them? And my initial thought was, well, you know, the walls are 3 inches, so I used that as I started, I was like, wait a minute. Something's not right here. One thing you got to realize, and this, I think this is something that ITLA ought to put on their website, especially when you're planning out a large building. Basically, what happens is when you put these together, yes, each sheet or each panel is 3 inches. However, after the first one, when you put them together, you lose 1/8 inch for every panel that you add. And that's because of the dovetails and how they go together. And I was like, wait, does that make sense? And the more I think about it, and I'm not the smartest guy, yeah, it does. And you won't be able to see it, but it is. This is 4 panels. So you would think, oh, 3, 6, 9, 12, it's a foot. No, it's not. It's 11 5/8, the outside dimension. So you lose 1/8 per panel that you add. and it's measured. I can't. You probably won't be able to read it off of here, but it's 11 5/8. And I checked it. I checked it all. I was like, wait a minute, am I doing this right? Yeah, I am. Also, the height is not 9 inches. It's like 11 7/8. Not a huge deal, but just FYI. I'm not sure the height of a normal 4-story panel. Where that came into play was A, for me to figure out the size of the roof, because that's got to fit inside, so I had to have the dimensions right. And what really is going to impact me, I think I can fix it. Again, because it's a little bit smaller than you think. But if you're laying this out, most of us kind of plan things out. Okay, how big's the building going to be? It's not going to be the exact size you think if you calculate things on a 3-inch panel. You got to remember, take off 1/8 for every panel that you add. So I have 4 panels, adding 3, take off 3/8. So it's not 12, it's 11 5/8. Well, think about it. Let's expand that. And now I have this back wall that is going to be about 17 panels from here to here. I'm going to lose 2.5 inches. Just do the math, 17 times 1/8, and it's going to give you less than you think. And I was really kind of planning on it being 3 inches. I set it over here where the viaduct's going to be. Somewhere now, I'm going to have a 2.5 inch gap, either here or here. Now I have a plan. I might be able to fix that. I may be able to scooch everything over, but that's, on a long wall like that, that's 2.5 inches is a lot. So again, I think that's something the ITLA ought to mention, that when you plan your buildings out, keep in mind when you're doing dimensions, after the first panel, every one you add, subtract 1/8 of an inch for the overall dimension. So I'm not going to be 63 inches here. I'm going to be 61, and whatever the hell. It's going to be less. Okay. I learned it. It's not going to be a major showstopper at all, but just FYI. The other thing that does, of course, I set my track spacing up for the high bay at 3 inches. It's not 3 inches. It's 2 7/8. That to me gets a little bit more critical. I think I'll be okay. I have taken that piece over, this piece here, the front one there. It'll be okay. I don't think 1/8 is going to be a showstopper. But again, I wish I would have known that. I would have set the track spacings up at 2 7/8 because I ripped the track out and repositioned it. I don't feel like doing it again. I am hopeful that this track's going to fit because I have those two, a wall and that other little, the kind of the L there. So again, track spacing, it's not 3 inches, it's 2 7/8. So just keep that in mind when you're laying this out. To me, that's kind of important. So I don't know if Nick's going to watch this video or not. Maybe I'll send him an email, or maybe he knows that and he just assumes that we're supposed to be smart enough to figure that out. Well, I'm not smart enough to figure that out. At least till I kind of put things together, I was like, wait a second, yeah. So anyway, be aware of that fact. The dimensions when you add a panel, subtract 1/8 of an inch per additional wall panel, and then you'll have your dimensions what you want. So again, this is pretty much ready to rock and roll. Got a little bit of cutting to do today to get the roof pieces. I can cut the floors easy enough. Try to get them set in there once I get it all glued together, and then figure out how I'm going to light it, what I'm going to do for detailing, etc. Because obviously I have to do the lower floor first. Whatever I'm going to do, put this floor in, detail it. On this other floor, on the bottom side, figure out where I'm going to run lights. Then get that one in. Then get the roof, figure out where I'm going to run lights. Anyway, it's just more thinking to do, more noodling around, but we'll get there. One quick, I did add this panel here because I wanted this one in because I'm going to have that piece come back. Point the camera at the right spot. So I wanted to have this done. I'll get this piece glued in so I have all that set and not try to, do this over on the layout. So I'm not sure if I'm just going to end here. I'm probably just going to end here, then build the rest of it out from that side. So basically I'm probably going to build this here, get it done, build the other portion, and then figure out how in the world I'm going to join them over in the layout. I mean, it might be easy enough to just kind of push them together, add the pilasters, and be okay. We'll see. All right, enough babbling. Let's get down to Bill's, get some cutting done, and then getting some assembling done. Okay, I'm finally ready to assemble the 5-story portion. So what I'll show here are just the various walls before they go together. All the pilasters are on, all the external things I need to get on are on. And another thing I got, check this out, folks. You can see how this is, kind of the light at my workbench. But through the magic of Amazon, if I do that, dun, da, 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 yeah, I bought myself a Pixel G1S RGB video light mounted on top of the camera. Not perfect. I still need to learn to play with it, how to position it. It's kind of hard to hold by hand with this and this light on top, but it's fun. The light's adjustable, so I can dim it a little bit if I need to. That's at 100%, and I can change the color temperature. Ooh. So I'll leave it at about 5,000 K. And, alright, enough of that craziness. So, here's wall A. You can see I did add, on the outside there's a portion of a gold Metal Models fire escape and a light for the door. I do have the stairs that come down that are going to go right down to the top of the viaduct. I'm not going to put them on now. I'll wait till later. They're just going to get something that's going to get lost or broken. So that's the front side, and then I'll just reach in here with the nice bright new light. Yeah. And this is the back. And what we have here on the back, and I probably overdid this, just some bracing across the top. Is for the roof, the floors. This is going to go back against the backdrop, so I put a 3/8 inch piece there, piece on the bottom, some vertical pieces there, just to kind of sturdy things up. So alright, so that's wall A, and then actually here's what we can do. I'm trying to make this as quick a segment as I can, but for me that's not easy. No, I don't want to break that. Alright, so we're going to reverse that, belay that order. We'll go like this. Then wall B is really pretty darn simple-y. It's just a wall. All the pilasters are on. And that took time because you had to cut them and cut the top pieces, and ugh. Took me like 3 evenings to do that because work's been nuts, and I've been working longer, and it's just been not as much time as I'd like on the layout side. So that's the back there. Very similar. Of wall B, braced and ready to go. Wall Charlie. That'll actually stand up on its own, interestingly, because of that little loading dock insert. So that's got the dock insert. Let me see if I can get that. That's ready to go. I got a light there to the left. Right now. Okay, so that's good to rock and or roll. These are just extensions that come out just for the floor because the other wall comes in here, so you won't see them. And on the back, I flip this bad boy around. There's the back side. And with the floor supports, the dock, the lights. Coming through is a light for the dock and a light on the outside. And then the final wall is wall D1. That is thusly. I still need to fiddle a little bit over here. I'm going to match it in, but I have the pieces cut, and I can't put them on now until I get the darn thing glued together. So that's that. And then, transitions to the 4-story portion as seen. And then, again, just the back side. Again, I probably overdid this. Now, I do have some other pieces in here because they're longer pieces because this is away from the wall. So I do have some pieces I'll put in probably once I get it assembled. It's not really going to impact the squareness of the main portion of the building, of this particular portion. And I have another portion here. I'm going to have the little wall piece that comes. Look, point the camera in the right place. You got a light and you can't do anything right. So I have a wall piece that'll stick back here. So pretty much good to go. So the next, and then I do have running betwixt walls A and Charlie. I have this monstrosity. It's drying up. I got some bracing on it. This is a piece to go in between the walls inside to help me keep things square side to side, and also to give me some of the rest of the roof on. So that's a piece of warped like crazy micro mark, 1/4 inch, might be, no, it's actually 3/16. Allegedly high quality plywood, but it was warped to unbelievable. Anyway, I cut it. I put these 3/8 pieces on, weighted it down. It helped. It straightened things out fairly well. What's drying up now are the two sides and some of the stuff for the ceiling. So that's just going to sit there and dry up overnight. And then probably mañana we're going to go ahead and get this thing put together. So taking a little bit longer than I thought, but once this part's done, this is probably the hardest part, just because of the 5 stories, the interior of it. I will have an interior on this portion, the D1 portion. This will probably be more like individual offices, so I might just kind of put some dividers in there, add some lights, to have a couple of random lights on, like this is for the big wigs. The other area will be pretty much an open area where the drafters, engineers, etc. all tend to sit. But we'll see. Okay, getting there. I still have to figure out how I'm going to fit the floor in this thing, but I'm not too worried about it. I'm just going to cut it out of the normal, this old archival matting, or basically heavy card stock that I used to use to put behind photographs when I was selling photography back in my young days. Nice stuff though, pretty sturdy. You can glue it in well, paint it quickly, and it'll be fine for the interior. So all right, enough babbling. So we're all excited here. It's ready to go. We got a new video light ready to rock and roll here on the building. So next we'll show the darn thing all together. Oh, here we go. The first gift of Christmas. All right, so the first section of the 5-story part of the factory is together and drying up. Yeah, it's square. It's Rob Bennett square. Yeah, it'll be fine. Now it's going together. I did install there's an interior brace vertical piece that's in to help keep it square, and also I put the roof piece in. That'll kind of help me keep it square. These walls were off a little bit at the top. Hopefully this tape will hold them. And I got some weights down there to kind of help me keep things from going crazy. So now I'm going to let this sit overnight. And then have to add in the D1 wall, which is the 5-story wall out here. But there we go. We are officially underway. So, woohoo! Now, there is going to be a problem. I was laying in bed last night, believe it or not, and here's where the issue is. And I confirmed this is an issue. Let me, alright, so, remember I told you in a previous segment that there's an 1/8 of an inch loss per additional segment after the first one. Well, see if I can get in here and show. I have an issue. It's going to be a problem. I verified it. I set this track up based on a 3-inch dimension. So you lose, after the first one, 1, 2, 3. So I lose 3/8 of an inch. So sure enough, the door opening doesn't fit the tracks right. And to compound it, I'm off by about 1/4 inch in my measurements, just with the wall and the masonite, the backdrop, blah, blah, blah. So I'm about 5/8 or 3/4 off. Meaning, if I set the building good on this track, and I can cheat a little bit, I'm going to be off. You go down here, back here. See, this is sitting against this as kind of help me, but it's going to be off about 3/8 of an inch. It's not going to sit against the wall. Yeah, so I have a gap back here. So that's another freaking issue I'll have to deal with, which I'll deal with it somehow. I'll kludge something together to extend the roof, another flat piece. It won't be very, very visible from how far away it is, but it's just one of those things. Again, if I had known that the dimension of these was not 3 inches when you assemble things, that's one irritating thing. So I think it does matter, and that's something that, and I'm going to go back and look on the website. Maybe I overlooked it, but again, that's critical. So because it threw me off on this track because I was assuming this was 3 inches, it's going to be 12 inches out. I kind of measured it. I know where to put that. Well, it's not. It's not freaking 12 inches. It's 11 5/8. Anyway. The joy of being a model railroader. Okay, so let's get this drying up and progressing forward. But hey, we're making it. So, whew. Now, of course, the floor's got to go in, the interiors, the lights, and all that shenanigans. But, all right, more to come. Oakley dokley, here we go. So it's together, dried up overnight, and it's actually relatively square. I amaze myself. So what I'm doing at the moment, you can see the side there's wall C. I gotta be careful now because I got lights hanging off of it and fire escapes on the other side and everything. So now what I did, just now, I put in the first floor that we're going to use here. That's just, again, a piece of that archival mat, notched out, kind of forced in there. It would have been easier if I put it in and then brought this piece in, but that could have had its own concerns. So that's kind of drying up right now. I have it in there drying up. Then I'll paint it. Put some type of interior in there. Again, this is more an open, the drafting engineering office area, the whole 2 floors here. So I'll probably just put in some generic chairs, tables, some desks, and not a whole lot, maybe a person looking out the window. And then the lights for that are going to be on the ceiling, the other floor. That's going to go in above it. Then those lights are going to run out through these holes here. And then the upper lights are going to run through those holes. Hard to see there. That'll be on the roof. So, but getting there. So again, I'm going to let this dry up. I'm going to go have some breakfast with some of my model railroading mates. And by the time I get back, this will be ready to be painted, detailed, and then cut out the other floor. And get that in there. So, okay. Moving ahead. Looking pretty good so far. Pretty happy with it. It's actually pretty darn sturdy. I can actually, don't panic, I can actually lift the whole thing with this. Because that's in there. So it's a pretty sturdy little cube I got myself here. Now, that's going to get more interesting, of course, and a little more cumbersome when I do add the other 5th floor stories series here, because that's going to be kind of floppy, and I got to figure out how I'm going to do that. But I want to get this done. I got to trim the corners, so I'll do that as well. I want to do all that now before I get that on, because I can handle this fairly easily. I can turn. I even had it upside down when I was gluing some supports in for the floor, so it's pretty nice and handleable in this state. Once I add that other one on there, that's going to kind of restrict me. I might put it on the base so I can spin it without having to lift the whole thing up and turn it like I can do now with this. So, all right, making progress. Next is the interior detailing and lighting. Okay, I'm done. Next project. So what I wanted to do was kind of bring it over here, and I think I have a way to fix the 3/8 of an inch miss because of the panels and a little bit of my miscalculation. Just going by drawings and not having the thing together to really measure. So that's a kind of a test fit, how it's going to sit. I have the door for the boxcar lined up where I want it to be on the track. And what I think I'm going to do, I think this will work. Let me drone up here. So there's the roof panel. It fits good. what I'm going to do, push it all the way back where I want it to sit. And I'm going to have a gap. Let me go one step higher here. Oh boy. Okay, right there. Now what I'll do, I'll get the same, I might have to buy a piece, I got to check. Same thickness as this, and I'll put it along the front. Because it's going to be viewed from the aisle side, and if I have a little of a gap there, probably won't be as noticeable. Or if I cover it with sandpaper, or, you know, paint it to weather the roof and whatnot, yeah, you may not notice that. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'll push that back. That'll give me the gap. It'll tell me what I need to do on this side. Let me I'll stand down here and not fall and break my leg. So droning over here, again, probably a little bit dark, but there is going to be a gap back there. And now that I know what it is, because I'll keep that roof piece there and then take it back to the bench, I can either slap a 3/8 inch piece in there or something. But I'll do something to hide that gap back there. On the other side, it won't really matter as much because when I run the other length over here, I can fiddle with something in that corner. Now, of course, this roof is going to be off because it's cut to the other dimension. So that's going to be off as well. But either redo it, because I have, when I went down to my main man Bill Schopf, we cut that 3/32 material to fit, and it fit nice. But now there's going to be a gap. So all right, anyway, we will persevere and overcome. So that's a first glance test fit of the 5-story section. Okay, I'm liking it. I mean, I can visualize it all coming together. All right, so back to the bench. Alrighty, here's the solution to the gapping building. So, I actually took, like I said, when this was over there, I measured it. It's actually about 3/4 of an inch. So 3/8 for the building, and I was off 3/8 in my measurements. Okay, whatever, not too bad. I mean, I didn't actually have anything to go by other than a wing and a prayer. So, but here's how we're going to fill that up. Like I said, we're going to move, the roof panel to the back where it's got to sit. 3/8 inch piece, I'll put it, or 3/4 inch piece, I'll lay in there, same thickness as the roof. I don't think I have any. I'm going to have to buy some from Northeastern Scale Lumber, but it'll come quick, so it won't really delay me terribly. And then back here, to fill this gap, I cut a piece out of task board. I even cut the little notches there, which I probably wouldn't have to do, but this stuff's not hard to cut, so it only took 5 minutes. That'll sit in there, like that. And then, of course, I'll dress that with the same pilasters here. I'm just going to take this out, paint this the same color as this, not even worry about the brick, whatever. Just paint it the same concrete color and let it sit right like that. And that's what we'll do. Looking to see if I want to add maybe a support back here, maybe now a support in here, which I could just slap something in there just to support the, you know, that roof. I don't know if it's really necessary when it's all done and glued, but I may. It's not hard to do. Just a couple pieces of strip wood. So, alright, so that's the solution, at least for this end, how we're going to do it. I probably could do something similar at the other end, extending it horizontally to meet the wall. So we'll see. Alright, we'll get that done. Let's get this painted up, get that drying, and then, like I said, get working on the interior on this 5-story section. Alright, so the 4th floor drafting area is done. Good enough. And again, all I did was cut some wood pieces up, some scrap pieces, made some drafting tables, a big hunk of wood, and I printed off. I found on the on Google an image of engineering blueprint drawer files. They're the real big ones to store E-size drawings and stuff like that. So I printed some of those off, slapped them on a piece of wood, and then put some figures in there. There's a guy here looking out the window. I know you probably really can't see that well. You know, I'm not going to go crazy on this because you're not going to be able to see it very good. But I'll just kind of show you what I did here. So in the back there's some kind of cabinet with a nice Westinghouse sign on it. Man, that sounds good. And then over here, there are the drafting tables. They're just scraps of taskboard with scraps that came out of the drops from this building, out of the somewhere. I didn't need them. I just cut them. They're the tables. There's a guy there leaning over. That's actually a photographer, but he's looking at a drawing or something like that. There's a guy back there with no arm. There's like a freaking leper colony in there. This guy here, another photographer, but he's looking at the drawing file. So just, you know, some stuff, and that's, you probably can't see it, but if you look through the window, you can see it. Not with the camera, it doesn't show up very well, but so that's good enough. You know what I mean? And oh, there's a piece from a Faller interior set down there. This is some type of cabinet. That's really all you need, because you're not going to be close enough. And again, I call it, you know, proof of life. You just want to show that there's something going on, because you're going to be back pretty far, you know, when you're actually looking at this, so you're not going to see anything. You're really not. So I wasn't going to make any real special bookcases or high quality stuff. It's just enough to indicate, yep, something's going on. So now I'm going to get the fifth story floor on with lights underneath it to light, obviously, the fourth floor, and then figure out what I'm going to do on the fifth floor, and then get ready to get the roof on. Alright, more to come. Just wanted to show a little bit what I did there for the interior. Alright, couple ancillary tasks being done here before I do the interior on the fifth floor. We'll get to that in a moment. So here's what I did here. I added in that 3/4 inch spacing strip for the back for the, you know, losing the 1/8 in my miscalculation. So that's in there. I may come in there and weather a little bit, but again, that's just to take that gap up. It's going to be hard to see, and not too worried about it, but it does at least fill that gap. And then speaking of the gap, what I was able to come up with, I thought I was going to have to order some 3/32 by 3/4 strip from Northeastern Scale Lumber. But turns out, in digging around, it always helps to look, because I didn't realize I had this. I had some of this. Hey, look at that. 3/4. I'm sorry, 3/32 by whatever that is, a sheet that I bought at Niagara Craft and Hobby Mart back when they were open over in Cheektowaga, New York. I miss having them. All right. So, since this is basswood and it's not that wide, I could cut it to length, 11 3/8 on my miter saw, and then I cut the strip I need, and there it is. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's okay. It's going to fill that gap, and again, you're going to be looking at it from this side. You're never even going to see that, especially when I get the roof done and covered. All right, so there we go. So problem solved with the dimensional issues here. So all right, so now let's go over, and I'll kind of show you what we're going to do for the interior of the fifth floor, which is going to be the engineering office. All right, let me get ready for that. Alrighty, fifth floor engineering offices. Here's what I did. I was mulling over, you know, going out and buying some Prizer desks, because it's pretty much going to be desks up there for the engineers. And that's $40 for a set, and I have to wait. I'm like, you know what? Heck with it. It's not going to be that visible. Like I said, all we're going for here is proof of life. So, what I did is I took some for desks, and there's my desks. I took some of the leftover material from the pilasters. I used that width. It may not be perfect, but whatever. Cut blocks 3/8 square, you know, the dowels I have. Glued them on, fine. They're going to be the desks. A couple different sizes. I actually had a couple drafting tables that I made up. I know they're not perfect drafting tables, but through the window from 3 feet away at the aisle, I think they're going to look okay. I made up a little bit of a set of file cabinets. That's just 1/4 inch cut, painted one of the Rust-Oleum camouflage greenish type colors. This is kind of a little area. It's going to be in between the engineers in the center where they have some drawings they can store, because you need some drawings for in-progress jobs. The fourth floor is more the archive, where they have, you know, completed jobs for history. That's just something I don't know. I just pinned it up maybe to throw it in the back. I do have lights made up, and I'll show these installed. Here's my... I decided to do this because I didn't want to have to glue them to the roof. That seemed to me that might be an issue. Trying to get it in, get the roof placed, get them through the holes to get them back where I'm going to do the wiring. So I said, you know what? I made up 3 of these little columns that run across the top. The roof will set on the top of those, and I have LED strips. So I'll show you those installed in a moment. So that's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to go crazy. Oh, I do got some peeps back here and some Prizer chairs. They're more like lawn chairs. But whatever. Again, inside the building, you're not going to be able to tell. So I got some engineers sitting there. They're not perfect. They probably should. I actually did look on Google. If you Google engineering, no, 1950s engineering office interiors or something like that, you will find some pretty cool pictures. And it's kind of what I expected, kind of an open layout, a lot of desks all close together. You know, guys all very, very nicely dressed, you know, shirt and tie and everything, all kind of posing for the camera. It's obvious the way they're all looking at the camera. Anyway, there were no selfies back then in the late 50s. So I'm just going to use those. They're probably not perfect, but they're figures. They're sitting down. And then they'll be behind the, you know, some of the desks, not all of them, because I don't have a whole lot more. I probably shouldn't be using the higher priced Prizer figures, but it's all I got. Whatever. I'll go buy more if I need them. So they're chairs, like I said, file cabinets, desks. That's it. That's all I'm going to put in there. So let's get this installed, ready to go, and see how it all looks. Alright, I'll try to show this best I can. So here's the interior. See, that's my scrap material desks and credenzas and file cabinets and the chairs from Prizer and a couple of dudes sitting around chit-chatting. Those 3 are having a conversation over there on something. Looks like a bigwig is there. Talking to them. Maybe they're talking about the first Schnabel shipment. I can't ship it. What do you mean it's part of the rail car? You guys are insane. So, that does that. And over here, again, some more guys. I found a couple boxes here and there and put them on a guy's desk that they're getting drawings or sample materials. Then I found a couple potted plants. I figured, hey, there's one in every office, right? He likes to have plants, so they're on top of the drawing file there. And you can see how I put the cross beams in for the lights and how I had to finagle them around out the back there. I'm glad I did it this way. I would never have gotten those in. Excuse me, I'm rolling my chair here. If they were, you know, on the bottom of the roof, I tried to put the roof in, get it down, slide those through. Never would have happened. I would have been launching this thing out in the backyard. So this way, it's done. I can do all the wiring back here without the roof on. I'll spin it around real quick and show you what that. Then when I'm all done, I can test the lights and everything, and then the roof can go on, and I can work on that separate and not have to mess with the interior. So again, I'm not sure how well things are going to show, but that's what we got. Again, I now realize here at the bench, you're probably not going to be able to, it may not even focus, but again, we're just trying to convey that, yeah, there's something going on in there. I didn't want to spend a whole lot of money. In fact, I spent nothing because all this stuff was mostly scrap and the figures and some of the boxes and potted plants I already had. So there we go. Alright, I'll spin it real quick and we'll take a look at the back and how we're going to wire everything up. Alright, here's the back area like I like to try to do. I like to have a nice open area where I can do the wiring, get it all set, and then just drop 2 wires down to bring the power in. Now this will be one part of it. Other parts of the factory will have lights as well. So there'll be multiple drops. But I'm going to go ahead and do one here. So see, I have the 3 5th story lights. They're all 12 volts. The 2 for the 4th story, they're 12 volts. The little tiny wires are the exterior LEDs, the little wall lights. They're not 12 volts, but I need a resistor for those, which I have. And then this is also a 12-volt light that's over the loading dock on the outside of that wall. So now it's just a matter of getting things together, running some kind of bus, soldering things up. But it's, what I like is lots of room. I can do it. I'm glad I did it this way. Otherwise I have the roof on it. If I tried to do, which I knew now would not have worked, like I said, nice and open. So I'm going to go ahead and get this wired up, tested, and see how things look. Oh boy, alright, there it is. Kind of a mess, but I got her done. I went ahead and added a 12-volt and ground bus up here, and my leads coming in. You'll notice I switched from green to red because, to me, under the layout, green is 12 volts. So I just like to be consistent. So, but up here, the positives are all red. So I just kept it up top. So, alright. Top lights. These I had to extend the bottom strip LEDs on the 4th floor. These little outside lights were a real pain, to be honest. Oh, I brought the resistor up, soldered the itty bitty red wire to it, and then back here had enough length to get it right to the bus. On that light, that was really nitnoid. You can see I dropped the resistor and then a lead and tried to solder it down. Well, I did solder it. It took many attempts. Those little wires are small and they're flinging all over the place. And then same thing for the return. So that is the back side, and I got a 2-foot drop. I'll just kind of coil that up and let it sit so I can still handle the building nicely. So now let's turn around and see what happens if I turn them on. Alright, here we are back front. Roof set in place. What's going to happen when I turn the switch on? Oh boy, here we go. The suspense is killing me. 1, 2, 3. Ta-da! Okay, now I might want to kill the light on the camera, but let me try that. Let me kill the light up here. Boo! Alright. I know it's a lot darker. I know. Don't panic. But I'm trying to see. So that's the interior. And then the light over there, over that exit, is verticing. Persnickety little damn wires. Of course, over here we have inside the dock and the exterior light. Now, interesting, you know what I didn't do? I didn't put any lights inside here. Well. Although I could turn the building upside down and add a strip in there. Maybe, I don't know, we'll see. Because that's where the rail cars are going to go in and whatnot. And I could put something across, that floor pointing downward. We'll see. Okay, so there we go. Now, I don't know how well things will focus. Probably not too well, but and again, you're not going to really be able to see a lot. Not even focused, I can't tell. Without my glasses on behind the viewfinder. But there's peeps in there. They're doing their thing. They're verticing. There's Cletus looking out the window. So again, back at layout viewing distance. How far are you going to be? You're probably going to be about 3 feet away. Back, at least back here. So you see what I mean? If you would try to do any more details on the interior, why? You're just not going to notice it. That looks like there's people. They're sitting at desks. You can kind of tell there's a drafting table. You know what I mean? To me, that's fine. I don't see why you'd want to go to any other effort in this type of building, this far away. Not trying to be a model railroading superstar and wow people with photographs. It's just, hey, like I said, proof of life. Things are going on inside the building. Okay, let's, now that we got this done, I can probably get the roof on and see what comes up next. A little bit more of the backside here, just to kind of show it. Shows up, see the nice little plants. That guy there at the drafting board is actually from a warehouse worker set. He's supposed to be pushing a pallet jack. But to me, it kind of looked like he's the way his hands are, he's kind of up there doing something on the drawing. I know there's no drawing on the drafting table, but yeah, whatever. And he's at the big way, chatting with the two over there. Some other high roller walking through, checking up on people. So, alright, there we go. So again, Quick, simple, cheap, but will convey the impression I'm going for, that there's something going on inside the building. Here I am thinking again. Oh man, is that dangerous. Alright, just a couple random thoughts here. So you can see I have this wall. It's not glued, it's just sitting there. What I was really after was I have this piece of, was it 1 inch? Yeah, something like that. Pink foam. I think it may work okay to allow me, when I do add this on with this section complete, because now I can kind of, you know, spin everything, work on it, sort of, and be able to spin it around and do whatever I'm going to do in here. I got to think what I'm going to do here for lights. I'm not going to worry about interiors. Again, that's even further back than up there. I'm just not going to worry about it. You can see I got a roof support there, a roof extension here because of the additional 3/4 inch. Oh, I'm going to add a light on the door on the front side. What I have is I have this little bad boy. Let me just go over here. This was a part of a 3-light sequence that I think I bought from All Electronics years ago. I had it underneath the layout, but I never really used it, so it came down at some point in time, or I took it down. It's 12 volts, so I'm just going to use it. So I mounted it to a block. I soldered on leads here. So then what I'll do is I'll mount it. I'll probably take this side, flip it upside down carefully. As all the little people go, Poseidon Adventure. Then I can run the wires through here and up and solder them onto the bus. Alright, I'm thinking of perhaps using this roof. This is just a piece I cobbled out of some Walthers kit. I forget what it is. It's not the way it should be, but I kind of like the way it looked, and I figured maybe I'll put it here. Alright, so let's say I'll put it across. Imagine it's on the roof, not on the ground. You know, maybe there's elevators. You know, so you come out of the offices here. Maybe in here, this is the bathroom at this end, then there's an elevator that gets you down to the factory. Or, you know, up and down, there's another elevator here. I don't know, something like that. It's kind of what it looks like, you know. Just something different. So I'm not sure, I'm not for sure I'm going to use that. I probably will, I like it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this roof either. Do I want to just paint it and be done with it? Because there will be details added to it. Oh, you might be able to see I did paint the inside here a Vallejo chalk white. It's not quite a perfect match for the outside, but I just wanted something because it was obvious it was kind of, you know, this color. So I said, all right, I'll go ahead and paint that since you can't see that side, but I did it anyway because I'm a great guy. So I just did this side, that side, just to, all right, before the roof goes in. And what am I going to do for the roof? I don't know. I mean, I have it cut. It's good to go. I have it fixed and ready to, you know, with a 3/4 inch extension for the front. Do I just want to paint it, you know, a grimy black color, add details to it? Do I want to try to put sandpaper on it, give it some texture? Do I want to, I don't know. You're not really going to see it all that well. It won't be real close to the layout, so I don't know if they need to, you know, go crazy on it, because I certainly don't feel like going crazy on it. So, all right, we'll see. All right, just some random babbling. Now I'm gonna, before I glue this, I got it. So I'm gonna turn this over. I'm gonna get the light glued on. Maybe not tonight because I don't feel like it. Get that done. Then this side's pretty much done. I really can put the roof on now if I want to do. I'm gonna flip it over, and then get this glued on. Make sure everything's nice and square. I did order some other stuff from Northeast Scale Lumber. I didn't have the piece I really liked. I want to put a cap piece on top of the walls there, so I had to order that. Then I ordered some other things to help me extend things and maybe redo some stuff because of this 3/4 inch dimensional miss here. So that should come quickly though. In Northeast Scale Lumber, at least for where I am, if they're over in Massachusetts, I get stuff quickly. So probably within a day or two I'll have it. So. And then get this done, and man, I'm worried about taking this over the layout. I mean, it's nice to build it here, but when I get it over there, my biggest concern, this is pretty sturdy. When I go to move it, I don't want this wall, you know, caterwauling around and breaking here at the joint and everything like that. And then I'm going to have to, when I get over there, you know, bring the other wall in and just match it. I cannot handle this all together at once, so I'm going to have to build, you know, this part and then the long straight wall and bring it over and join them on the layout somehow. And just hope that it lines up here nice. I'll probably make these nice and easy to fit. I don't know what else to do. Anyway, more to come. Alright, we're just kind of a random babble session there as I wrap up the weekend and get ready to carry on here. Okay, I'm going to show this real quick. I get nervous when the building's like tilted like this. So I got that light mounted. I ran the wire down through the hole, put some tape on to hold it back against the wall, and I go over it with some canopy glue just to help keep the tape in. Sometimes it depends on how the type of quality of your electrical tape. I've had them come off over the years after time. Anyway, so I just put some glue on it, put a couple strips of tape on that. I did glue this basswood, which this is glued onto to this cardboard, but I can't push too much or I'll pop that floor up, which I really don't want to do now. And wires down, run through, down here, so I'll just turn it around, solder them up, and should have an interior light then for the whole, kind of this whole, okay, this whole bay. So, alright, that's that. Let me get this building up. I'm getting nervous, and the people up top are really wondering what's going on. So, let me get this up right here. Okay, starting to build the long wall here. I have the panels glued up. I decided to do it this way, nice and flat. If I did it the other way, you probably could, but there's a little slight, you know, raise from the acetate around the windows. I don't think it would have mattered, but I just decided to do it this way. So what I'm going to do now, this isn't all of them. Okay, so I have one more panel to go in. This I already had the pilasters on. And if I had glued it on now, it would have been off just a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and very carefully, these are all glued together with canopy glue. It seems nice and sturdy. But still, it's a long, you know, thin wall for now. So I'm going to flip it over carefully. If you've never seen another video from me, you know it broke into pieces and I threw it in the backyard and I'm taking up basket weaving. So I'm going to flip it over, put all the pilasters on, then add this piece, and then I have to add the gap piece because of the loss of 1/8 per panel. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do there. So, but that shouldn't be that hard. So I'm going to go ahead and get this flipped over, get the pilasters on, and hopefully be back shortly. Okie dokie, here's a long wall setting up. I have all the pilasters, both layers. On the front, I'm just going to let that sit overnight. I mean, it's probably fine right now, but I got to be careful how I handle it, so I'm just going to let it dry up. And I also worked on a couple other things. That's going to be some type of conveyor or something. And here's why. Bear with me here. So if we look up at our plan, you ain't looking at nothing. Let me, that ain't better. There? I don't know. Alright, so what I'm going to do, in this far corner, this is my wild plan. Right along here, in between this long part and the high bay, I'm going to put a mirror back there. It's a front surface mirror. I have it. I bought one. And so I need something to hide the top of the mirror. My thought being then, as you're looking from this side, looking back, it's kind of hard to see because you have the high bay that sticks up, 4 stories, but I think it might look pretty interesting. And then it'll look like, this building then continues on ad infinitum, into the backdrop, which is what it would do. Because again, this is the main entrance from the main part of the main gate on the Erie side. So it does flow over there. So we'll see. I don't know. I've never done that before. I thought I might try it, see what it looks like. We'll find out. So, but again, something needs to cover the top of the mirror So I'm going to make some type of a conveyor or something like that from this building over to the high bay. I have an idea. I'll show you that later. More to come on that as I get that progressed. So that's the maniacal plan there. And then we're just going to let this all set up and get back to building tomorrow. All right, more to come. All right, there we go. Most of the long wall. I have, like I said, the panels glued together. I have the 2 layers of pilasters on the front. And you know, it's surprisingly rigid the way it is. Now, I'm not going to pick it up and fling it around like like a piece of Hot Wheel track, but it's not bad. So now I'm going to kind of lay it down on its back side, or on the front here, and probably get even better because I do need to put a piece across the top on the inside for the roof support. Maybe run another horizontal one, maybe one at the bottom. I'm still kind of thinking about how I want to brace it and make it handleable. Now it is missing at, oh, actually it'll be this far end. The one panel that I thought was going to be the end piece, and here, and then the addition. I have the addition painted. I know what I'm going to do there. I know what I'm going to do to hide the mirror and everything, so that's working. So I actually have like a panel and a half more to add at this end, which I can do now. So I'll probably do that. Maybe I'll do that first. That way everything's there, and when I lay it down on its front side, I can do the back stuff and everything's together. So maybe I'll do that first. And then we'll continue on. So getting there, slowly making progress here. Okay, finally getting ready to get the, what I'm calling the D1 wall here, the additional 4 panels of the 5-story and then a start of the 4-story. I think I pretty much have this together. It took a lot of fiddling around. Just sitting over here now. I just got that roof cut with that Walthers piece that I'm going to probably put in there just for some variety. But let's go ahead and take this monster over to the bench. Well, right now we're just going to take this part over and look at what I did on that and getting that ready to go. So I get that pretty much finished up, and then get this whole section here put together and hopefully ready to go on the layout. Okay, so here's wall D1 back at the bench, and as you can see, it's a bit more freestanding, and I'll show you why. So not much happened here in the front. All the pilasters on. I did fix up this little area with some cutting and notching some of the pilasters to make that work. And I did get this panel in there. It's not great, what I mean? And again, when I had to add that addition here at the end, if I had realized that earlier, I probably would have centered this and done it evenly on both sides. But, c'est la vie. Alright, so as you can see, I can turn this bad boy around here. Alright, so here's the back. Is it overbraced? Probably. I don't know. But what I decided to do, underneath this end, there's a piece here running all the way down. There's a piece here running all the way down. And then I was really kind of going back and forth, really over-analyzing how I want to do the interior, the lighting more than anything. I said, alright, fine, look, we can do something and move on. You just cannot sit here and analyze this forever. So, as you can see, we're going to have, I made those windows dark, and I made one window over here dark. That's so I didn't have to play with other interior partitions to make the rooms dark. So this is kind of more of a, well, this is all bay. So I'll show you them. There's going to be a floor with lights that light the bay. I'm going to light these windows so you can look in, and then these two. Figuring this is more somewhat the high rollers. We made these are the department heads and whatnot, so there aren't quite as many people. And since they're the higher rollers, some are gone, where the other peons have to work longer. So anyway, so that's kind of what I'm doing. And then I did make up floors to go in. This is the lighting. And interesting, on the lighting, what I had to do, well, I didn't have to do, what I did do, you can see there are 3 sets put together. Reason being is, what the best way is to see it, I wanted to have a 6 light. Well, I used all the other ones on the interior office on the other side. I ordered some more. They're not here yet. They might not be here for several more days, not a week. I don't want to stop. But I had a bunch of these 3 light sections. I said, okay, well, if I got 3 light sections, and all I got to do, I'll make a 6 light. So I just took this, cut it, soldered it, extended it, bang, 6 light. So now I can keep going. Because again, I really didn't want to stop because I want to get this darn monstrosity done. So I have 2 floors. One floor is going to go, I think that's the one. Yeah, that's not notched in the front. You can't tell, but anyway, so that's going to go here. So there's going to be one here, and I drilled a hole to bring it through. I'm going to wire everything to the bus that's already sitting over here. I figured, why not? It's there. The other one is going to bring these lights out. And now I just figured out what I'm going to do on the top. This is where I'm going to take, again, I'm using that kind of that archival mat board for these 2 floors. They should be fine. For this top roof, I have a piece of, what was this? I think the 332nd basswood from Niagara. Last of it going now. So I'm going to do that, only because it's a little more stable across this gap. I'm not going to start building more things in here. I like the heck with it. And then I took the Walters roof and cut it down so it'll fit in there. So that gives me a little bit more stability. And then what I can do is I'm going to go ahead and get the 2 floors in. I can do that. I can get this in, glued in. And it's just a matter of putting the Walters roof on and a little piece to fill the gap because it doesn't quite fit, again, because of the extension, because of the 1/8 dimensional loss. So that's where we are in this. Now, I had said to myself, which is scary, that I'm not going to put interiors in here. I don't think I'm going to see it, but I don't know. Should I put something in there? Maybe I will, maybe I don't know. But I don't know if you're really going to be able to see it. This is going to be really kind of the farthest back you can get. But these are the last 2 areas that I have to do it because the rest of it's all just kind of bay. Just lights and that's it. That's pretty simple to do. So if I want to noodle around in here and try to add some stuff, I don't know. You know me, I probably will. Alright, so let me get this going so I can get this, because now I can kind of work on this. I added this just to give me some support. Again, it's part of the whole structure. Should be fairly solid. And then I want to get that 5-story area done together. Maybe even over in the layout, just sitting there, because the longer section has to fit into it. So, at least I hope it does. All right, let's get to work on this and hopefully get this thing moved along. All right, good enough. Here's what I decided to do. I remember back in my days at GE Transportation, there was a large conference room that everyone hated to go to because usually if you got called to that room for a meeting, it wasn't going to be a good day. Anyway, so here's a room, big conference table. Of course, you got the grand poopah chair at the one end. That's where he sits. I'll only put chairs. I don't know if I can get up here and show this. Sorry, trying to hold the camera and not knock stuff over. So there's chairs on that side because you look in the window and see it. And they're just glued to a strip of the scrap material because it was easier than I glued the strip down. Little credenza over there because every now and then, in between the beatings, they would feed you lunch. So there's a little credenza and a little place where they kept silverware and whatnot. So, good enough. I slapped the same color paint on the floor. I added whatever the heck this is over here. I don't know, just something. It's so far back. I'm not going to add people. I'm not going to worry about it. So now it's time for the next floor/roof to go in. And I have that ready to go. I did hit these lights a little bit, just a tiny bit with some of the Tamiya Clear Orange, just to change the color of the lights, for this room. Just, why not? Just something different. So, alright. I have to get this floor on, figure out what I'm going to do up here, and then keep plugging ahead here. All right, there we go. Two more quick offices. I decided to make a couple more. I slapped together some desks here. Nothing really freaking fancy. Just typical spare material from the pillow store stuff. Chairs and some other stuff, some tables I found in my Lake City Diner stuff. I never detailed the interior, so well, I might as well use them here. So, all right, so that's it. And again, a couple scraps in there. There's something in the center there. I don't know if that's like a bookcase or I don't know, or maybe it's a divider for offices. Again, these guys are a little higher up, so they have individual offices. Just two dudes sitting there. Again, I grabbed two prizer figures that were sitting in those little square tables. Are the like I said, those and the chairs are out of the my Lake City Diner interior stuff, 3D printed stuff. And I slapped up what looks kind of like a file cabinet. Good enough. All right, so for the lights, what I decided to do, I didn't want to put a real big strip in here. It might be just way too bright. Figured these are individual offices. So I used individual ones. This will show up down here. And what I did, as you can see, I unsoldered the wires that were actually on them, and then just kind of made up some jumpers, resoldered it with a T in the center. So now I don't have to worry about those little itty wires coming over, you know, making more connections on the other side. I would have needed to extend them anyway to get to the bus. So I kind of did that with the T, and just they're long enough now to go over, and they'll connect to the bus on the other side of the wall. So that's that. They work good. I did add a little bit of Tamiya clear orange on top of those. Again, to kind of change the color temperature a little bit. Just for offices, make it a little bit more yellowish. And that is that. So now, sports fans, this dang thing is done. Well, I wish. So what I'm going to do now is take this roof. The phone's ringing. I'll be right back. Oh, I hate when that happens. Crank calls every evening. Anyway. Thank goodness for caller ID. All right, so like I said, I'm going to get the roof, the wood roof on here. That's actually a sub roof. I'm such a civil engineer. And then get that all glued on and set up. And then this now is ready to join to the other section. So that'll be the next big project, not part of the project. And then that section is going to be almost done. I need to get the roof in, figure out if it looks okay the way I painted it. Maybe, I'm not sure, but all right, some more to come. I'm trying to move this along. I know this video is getting outrageously long, but I'm just kind of showing what I'm doing, so I don't know if anyone's going to like it, but this is the way I did it. So, okay, so let me shut the heck up, get this on and glued up, the roof, and then move on to joining them both sections together. Alright, here's the back, all ready to go. This is now glued on, ready to join up to the other section. I went ahead, since I'm lazy, and I soldered all these together just to one coming over to the bus. I didn't feel like soldering all those wires. Although I soldered them here, so I don't know how I save time. But it's going to be easier going to the bus. So now, everything should light up, although it's probably hard to tell. Let me see if I kill the camera light, if that does anything. I don't shake the crap out of the camera while I'm trying to do that. Hold on, I can't find the button. Okay, can't really tell what it's going to look like. I could spin it around, but we'll do that later. Alright, so this is now ready to go over and be joined to the other 5-story section. Oh boy, here we go. Okay, everything's cut for the long wall. So what I'm going to do, this is the back side, obviously. I'm going to put 5 vertical panels. 1, 2. Number 3 is over here drying up. I'll show you where the roofs are going to join. 3, 4, 5. And they're notched to go over the bottom piece that's there. I added a notch to add a 3/8 piece on the back. A notch in the center to run a 1/4 inch piece. I'm notched up top. If I want to add some pieces to glue for the roof, I can. like I said, number 3 is over drying up because I have 2 roof panels, 3 32nd roof panels. I had to cut them and get them to the right size. They're going to join right here. So right over this panel, I'll just show you here. So he's drying up, and I just added a 1/4 inch piece on each side to give me, a little bit of a Kentucky vintage in case I'm off, which I probably will be, and something to glue. Make sure I have enough glue surface for the 2 halves of the roof. I did have to extend on this side. I hope I got it right. That goes over and matches the first 4-story panel. That's on the 5-story section. And then I also have notches on panels 2, 3, 4 for the lights. I'm going to run LED light strips across the underside of the roof. I have them here. They're long strips, about 14 inches or something like that. I'm going to have 3 of them. Well, 2 and probably 1 of them being cut. And then so I'll run them through. There's a notch there for it. There's a notch there on those 2 to bring them together. I might figure out how to wire them. It's going to be a little bit complicated just because I can't do it all on one roof panel. But I'll see what I can do. Once I get, my plan now is, once number 3 sits for a little bit longer, get all the verticals in, get that done. Maybe get all this stuff glued up, let that set for a little while. While they're sitting there, I'll mark where the notches are so I know exactly where to run the lights on the underside of the roof panel. Get the lights glued on the roof panels, lift it up, and then glue the roofs on, and then be able to work the lights again from the back side. So I'm going to have the 3 strips. 1 feeder will come up, connect to them somehow. I'm not exactly sure yet. But that will then be this. There's no interior. This is all just kind of, factory bay, so there's no interiors on this. So everything's pretty much cut, ready to go. We'll just go ahead and get this glued up. And we'll see how it looks when it's all together, and hopefully it'll fit nice and square, relatively straight, and join okay with the 5-wall section. Woo. All right, we'll see what happens there, but all right, more to come. All right, so while that is all drying up, looking nice and sturdy, what I decided to do was figure out how I'm going to do the lights. Again, I want to get the lights on the underside of the roof so I can just kind of pop them in and glue them in and be done with it. Not be reaching up and trying to glue lights on from the it'd be annoying. All right, so I have these strips. Now this side is longer than the other side, so 1 strip will fit across here, and I need to add a 3, just because I think it's a little bit too far to not do anything. So okay, cool. I cut the leads here, bring them over, and I'm going to solder them on the end of the 3, and then boom, I'm done. On this side, the strip was long enough, but I also marked, I don't know how well it shows up, but I did mark, kind of where these vertical dividers are, where the notches are, and that's where I can run that and not interfere with these. All right, so anyway, I didn't want to add a 3 because it would have been really, really tight. So all I did was I just cut this one, cut the extra from the leads that I cut off the other side. One end's good, the other end I'll tin it, and then I'll solder together, and then I'll have a nice little run here, break over the vertical gap, and lights on this side. Maybe I should have 1 more, but whatever. That could be when it's burned out or something. So that's that. I'm going to go ahead and get these, get the soldering done, get them together, and then maybe get them glued onto the underside here, and get this ready to go. So that tomorrow morning, when I take all this apart, this is pretty much done, ready to go, and ba-boom, in it goes. Now I do have to add these lights in, so you can sneak under there and see that. That's the entryway, so I have the wires from those lights, and I'm probably going to have 2 or 3, 4 external lights on the outside, so those wires will come in too. So we'll see where everything goes, but then I can run these 2 wires, can run down the sides of this. I can tape them so they're not in the way not that you're going to see them that much, but just to keep them out of the windows. And then figure out if I'm going to have a bus or two down here. Maybe have 2 leads. One for this side, one for this side. I'm not sure, but that's not really super critical. You can figure that out. So, alright, so let's get this soldering done, get these lights ready to go. And tomorrow, this thing comes up. We'll see how it looks. Hopefully it's sturdy. I kept everything straight and square. And we'll get the roofs in. "16 hours later," or something like that. Alright, there it is. The next day, got it up. It's dried up overnight, and there it's sitting. I had to roll my chair back because I can't get the whole darn thing in the viewfinder. Even at my widest angle. Looks okay. I'm pretty happy. It's fairly straight. It has a real slight lean to the front. And I mean really slight. I'm not even sure it matters. I could always shim it. Again, I don't know. Again, I'm just doing the best I can to try me roll forward here and move the camera. Like I say, I took my handy dandy square and tried it against the front, and you probably won't be able to see it, but it's just really slight. It looks like it could rock back just a hair. I mean, it's like a 32nd it looks like, so I guess I should just be happy with that and and move on. So that's how it looks. I like that little entrance there. That looks pretty cool. It'll look nice when it's lit up and everything. I'm deciding if I want to add a little channel around here to kind of dress that opening. Not sure yet. And then down here is the extension I added. Like I said, because of the dimensional, losing that 1/8 of an inch. This little scab here, that's just a little block that I had on, but I took it off. That's going to support that, which is going to be my conveyor crossover. I don't know, something I just kind of whipped up to hide the top of the mirror at the very far end. So that's that. And I said both roof panels are cut, and the lights are done. So that I have 1 lead for one side, 1 lead for the other side, so that should work out fairly well. Let's give it a quick turn around here if I can do this and hold the camera and drink my coffee and not wreck this thing. Alright, let's see. It's pretty sturdy, I'll tell you what, now that it's got all the bracing behind it. Well, hold on, I know, crazy camera work here, but this is what you get on this channel. It's not very professional. Alright, so there's the back. Everything seems fairly well. Like I said, oops, I don't want to sit on my wires. See what I mean? It's a little bit, I don't know how else to do it to make it like, and I'm just not either A, skilled enough, I don't want to say that, or just I don't worry enough about it, but maybe it should lean back. You see that? Maybe that does it. So maybe I could shim the front a little bit. And, of course, that assumes the notches you made, that I made, were perfect. And they're not, because everything's hand-cut. So it's not like it's a well-designed, CAD-drawn thing. It'll be fine. I think once I get it on there, on the layout, I will just check and see if I need to shim it a little bit. But the big check I got to do is connect it with the other part of the building and see, A, does it fit? And see if it, how that lines up. See if the tabs fit up and everything like that. So, I do have 1 more notch here on the back. But if I want to, I made that so I could install another 1/4 inch piece, thusly. That's just to give the roof some support in the back. So I may do that. But you see how that wobbles? I think it's more because of the... And see, that didn't fit quite right. I can see that right there. That panel, which I knew was going to be an issue. Not an issue. I knew it was going to be the situation. Just, again, because I'm just hand-cutting everything. So, again, once it sits... it sits fine. It's not going to tip over or anything like that. It's dimension... It's properly stable. I can push it, and it's going to want to bounce back. So, okay. Alright, so now... I think I will add this in there just for a little bit of support for the roof. I'm not going to paint the roof. people will say it's going to warp, and we'll see. But it's a small enough roof, and I'm going to glue it, fairly well. I think it'll be all right. I did paint the other roof for the 5-story section. That's a little bit bigger, so I painted both sides of that. So there it is. That is the 36-inch, whatever it is. I don't know. It's long enough. So now, get the roofs on, get this set in, let that dry up when I get a second cup of coffee, get everything wired up, check the level, line it up with connect it to the other section, see how that all lines up. I don't know where I'm going to do that. I'm not sure I have the room over here, but okay, man, we're getting there. I know this video is way too long, like I said before, but I want to at least get it to its complete. So I want to show something instead of just me babbling for hours and hours. All right, more to come. Okay, here's what we're doing. Now sitting there looking at it and saying, should I glue the roof in? I'm like, well, the roof isn't going to glue itself in, knucklehead. So yeah, it's going in. So there it is. I'm going to let it set for a little bit, probably about the time it takes me to eat a little bit of breakfast. As you can see, I have a piece of 220 grit wet dry sandpaper cut to the width. And what I'm going to do is, right after breakfast, come down, just lift these weights off, put some glue down, put the sandpaper on, then put the weights back on to let it set. I figure, might as well accomplish two things at once. So, like I said, I'm deciding to use this here. Just some wet dry sandpaper, 220. Looks fine, gives a little bit of texture to it. Good enough. It's far enough away that I'm not going to worry about it too much. I can always, weather it up a little bit and then add some roof details. Not a whole lot of roof details. One thing I'm noticing in some photographs of what some modelers are doing, man, they load their roofs with stuff. Well, I looked at the photographs of the Westinghouse plant, and for the most part, the roofs are actually pretty clean. There's some vents, but there's not a lot of, pipes and protuberances and all that kind of crap. So I'm not going to put a lot on there. I'm just going to put some vents on it and be done, because it's just, I think some guys are overdoing it. All right, so then over here, just to show this similar concept, this is the 5-story section I'm trying to get together. Going to do the same thing. I'm going to get this roof glued in. This is the panel I did paint both sides of, and I got some sandpaper. It's not quite, figures, it's off by about maybe, 1/8 of an inch each side for a full sheet. Well, whatever. I might glue a full sheet in like this. I'm probably going to do another thing. I'll come back here, right where the roof joint. I'll overlap them, which I did on the other ones. Overlap them to cut a nice clean joint there to get rid of the factory edge on the sandpaper. And then glue that on, and then maybe come back with some type of something, paint it grimy black or something like that, just to kind of dress that edge, make it look kind of, cool and roofish, something like that. Maybe not this. This might be a little bit too thick, but this is a drop piece from the roofs that I did over on the other side. So, all right, so I'm gonna get this roof itself, this roof panel, glued in. Like I said, I got it painted on. Painted on both sides. I did glue the extension in the front, so it's all one piece. Yeah. So I'm just going to go ahead. So I did paint it a color. I left some areas bare for the glue. Put some bracing pieces there just for that. I don't think I really needed it, but I added a brace there across the back just to give it some support in the back for the roof. So I'm going to go ahead and get that panel, which amazingly to me actually fits pretty darn nice. Alright, get that in, setting up, and then same thing, come down and get the sandpaper on that with a little bit of weight and get it set up. So alright, moving on here, and then you can see I have this test fit set up. That's the roof section that's in. That is from the Front Street Warehouse. I forgot what Walther's kit's out of. It's a peaked roof. I made it flat and just kind of think it looks kind of nice and, like I said, nice and roofy there. So that's going to stay there. And then I need to get this, once I get, pan over, once I get this to a point where, maybe what I'll do is take this, move it over behind me on a long section while that's drying up, and then bring this back over to the main bench so I can get this glued in. No, I can't do that. No. First, I need to try this with the long section to see if I can fit it up here. So, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do something. All right, more to come later. Oh, doggy. All right, just to show that. So the sandpaper is down. You can see I added some more weights. Just kind of keep it all flat, hopefully. And some more clamps. They're there to kind of hold the edges down more than anything. The way I tried this, and hopefully it'll work all right, I didn't want to use canopy glue because I don't have that much of it, and it will take a bit. What I did was I took some weld bond, good adhesive as well, and I kind of spread that on the roof, and then I came in with a brush and just dipped it in some water. I didn't get it wet. I just kind of, dipped it just to make it moist a little bit, just to help spread the weld bond, because you don't want to get a nice thin layer of it, and that's a relatively thick adhesive. Seemed to work okay. I didn't water it down. I just kind of had the brush moist, so it kind of helped me spread it out. So now I'm going to let this sit. Figure out what I'm going to do for wiring, and then do a test fit. I'm going to try something else on changing subjects. On the other roof, the larger roof, I'm going to try something different. I'll let you know how that works. No promises, but if it works, I'll tell you. If it doesn't, I don't know what I'm going to do. All right, more to come. Okay, here we go with a test fit up. Oh boy, so I got both pieces. Like I said, this is going to be part of the 5-story, the whole thing, probably sitting on the layout. And then my plan would be to carry this other section over, this long section over, set it down, and slide it into this. So everything's got to be matched up fairly well to slide right in, because I can't fiddle too much because it's far in the back. I'm already leaning over 3 feet or so, putting my hands on the track work, and so it's got to be easy. So I brought it over here. I had it turned around facing out to see what it looked like, because it was, oh wow, look at that. But it wouldn't fit. But I think I know what's going on. So I'll try to show this. So like I said, in theory, this is on the layout sitting there. I bring this piece in, and what I want to do, let's see if I can show this here, is slide this over so that it fits. Now I do have the pilaster on the front. I can monkey with that a little bit from the other side. And it looks like I can get that to go. If I kind of show this, is kind of hard to show. Rats, I did have it before without the camera. Alright, so okay, so I can do that. So then that slides in, and then it hits right here. So I'm off a little bit on this. Now the way to fix that, looking at this, I might just rip this piece right out and then be able to slide it, and I can always redo it later. That's not super critical. I think the roof is not going to sag too much. I just put it there for the heck of it. And I can also see it's going to slide over, but I'm sorry for junking the camera, but I'm trying to show this. I can see, I think because of the fact that this is off, I'm going to have to file some of these joints. If I lift that a little bit, well, that might be better, but I don't know if I'll be able to focus on that. If I zoom in there, you can see those. See there at the top? It's not, I can see it. It's not going to fit. So I'm going to have to come in there and file some of those, which is okay. And that's, again, that's probably because the left hand, what you're looking at here on the left hand side, this is either off a little bit, it's not quite in perfect alignment, it's not perfectly square, and it doesn't take much. So what I can do, what I'm going to try to do, again, because it's got to fit smooth over here, so I can't do this side because I got that pilaster there, which I could rip off, and maybe I should, and try to glue it back on the layout. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, I'm going to file these on this side. I'm going to rip this off, because this is easy. I can take this piece, sorry, again, it's separate now. I can take it over and work on it. So I'm going to try doing that, kind of mark on here where I want to file stuff, bring it back over, and then see if I can slide it right in there. Because if I can slide it in there here, I hope, I hope I can do the same over on the layout. Of course, I could take these pieces over there and try it on the layout. Yeah, but what fun would that be? All right, let me see if I can monkey with this and get this to fit. All right, made a couple changes, like I said. I did come in and I increased the notch openings on this side here. Up here, I simply took an X-Acto chisel blade and slid it across just to bring the height of this piece down. That's where this was hitting. So I was like, I don't need to rip it off. I'll just kind of shave it a little bit. And that worked. All right, so then back over here, I figured if I can do this, hold the camera with one hand and slide it together, maybe I've got a snowball's chance in Hades of getting this done on the layout. So I had to put some weight on it because the thing's going to slide around a little bit. And then if I found if I came in straight, if I brought this piece in straight, the pilaster would hit. But as you can see, it's kind of cocked just a little bit. It's a little bit of an angle. So if I come in with a little bit of an angle, pilaster clears, notch clears, and then watch up top here as I swing it in like that. That's about as good as I'm going to get it. And I think that looks okay up there. And again, that's going to be, you know, far back, so I can always try to dress things up, but I may not even really have to be honest. I just don't know it's going to be all that visible. I do want to somehow try to have a ladder coming up here. That could be fun, trying to bring this in if the rungs aren't up high enough. Note to self. Alright, so I think I'll be okay. Now, I may want to even take this down a little bit more, open these up a little bit more, because here, if I pull it straight back, you'll probably hear a twang as the pilaster kind of clears. I'll be real quiet and see if it does it on the video. Hear that? So it's just a little bit off, but cant it a little bit. Bring it in. It should clear, in, lock, straight, I hope. Alright, well, let's spin it around and see what it looks like on the other side. Because, okay, it looks great here, but this is the side you're going to see on the layout, so let's see what happens on the other side. Alright, so from the front side, we have the 5-story, then we have the real long 4-story here on the right-hand side, and I have it cocked just a little tiny bit. Now I'm going to, I don't know if I can actually hold the camera and do this. I'm just not that dexterous, but let me try it. So just pardon me as I kind of scooch a little bit here. Sorry. Alright, so I'm going to bring it in with one hand. I'm trying to hold this back so you can see it. Okay, it's going to come in. I do have it angled slightly, or slightly ajar. And I come in here. Can I fiddle this with... Okay, see that slides over. Now push it back. See that corner up there? Push it back. That kind of gets it setting like that. And that's about how it's going to have to look. So I'm going to have to leave that. I'm not going to glue the darn thing over there. It's going to have to look like that. I can see I'm off a little bit here, but you know what? Whatever. Maybe I'll throw a vent or something there just to kind of... No, I can't because I have to join it there. Never mind. But that is, again, I don't have much room on this side. That is the whole caboodle. Ay caramba. Now I hope what I just showed you will actually work over there. It's going to have to. I have no other choice. And again, I think I made this sturdy enough that I can kind of reach in, you know, grab it here, not grab it, handle it carefully, and then bring it in. Let's try it again. So I can pull it straight away. Boom. Alright, so now, alright, so I hold the camera, shaky, angle it just enough, bring it in. Okay, clears, rotates. Whew, done. Alright, that's how it's going to have to be. So that's hopefully going to work over on the layout. It should, you know, because I did seal the task board that I have down there as a concrete base. It's all level. It's all going to sit on it. So I am hoping what I just did here with a camera in one hand and doing it one-handed, which I'm not going to do over there, will work. So, all right, let's get back to work on the other things and try to get this damn video posted. It's going to get outrageously lit. It is outrageously long. Anyone still watching this? Oh, boy. Alrighty, there's a lighting bus on the long part of the building. Done. I was able to do it all on this side here. Got my bus coming in. Wired it in. I actually had a little cleat there just so I'm not pulling things out of there, because when I put this in, I'm probably going to have to make a pretty sizable hole, because again, this is going to have to be set, pushed, and at an angle, moved back, so I can't have a real, you know, real restricted hole for those wires, because I'm going to have to kind of feed them in as I'm doing all this other shenanigans. So, but everything's wired up. Let's give it a quick look and see, at least from the back side. I come back here. Hopefully this all works. Go back even further. Yeah, kill the camera light again, just for the. Although I'm running out of battery, it's gonna die anyway. Well, maybe I won't turn it off. Come on. Okay. All right, so that's the inside. The upper lights. You can't really see the other ones. Let me just turn it around real quick and see what she looks like. Okay, let's take a quick look here. Here we are back. Pretty far. I had to roll myself back here in the Jeep because it's so darn long. And then, oops, if I go ahead and turn on the lights, we have interior lights. All right, not bad. I like it. I guess that's how a high bay, you know, this industrial stuff would look. Again, you can't really see much inside. It's not really intended to be anything inside. You can see some of the wires, but it just kind of looks like some industrial stuff going on. You can see through that window over there a little bit. You probably won't do it on the video, but I don't know if I zoom in on that little entryway. That'll even focus. That looks nice. And then there's two exterior lights. Well, actually three. There's a little tiny one on top of there, and there's two along there. And that's all I'm going to do, because the further and further it gets, you know, back this way, start to get the high bay coming in, and I'm not going to waste my expensive Viessmann lights. Yeah, I need some for the high bay. Alright, here we go. Oh man, we're getting close. We are really, really getting close. This video will end eventually, sometime this century. Alright, I'm calling this done. It's going on the layout. Well, I got some work to do on the other part, but that's close as well, so this is done. So I'm finished with it. I've had enough. What I did do just now, did a little bit of weathering and distressing on the face of the concrete. Not a lot. I didn't want to, because it's not dilapidated or anything, and it's in, you know, it's an older building, but it's in pretty good shape. So I'm just going to kind of roll forward here. Don't mind the shaking, so I can show what I did. I did work on the roof a little bit. I weathered that with ammo MIG pigments. I used metal slag and Europe earth just to give that some texture. And then what I did do as well is on the concrete, and I don't know, I can see it looking, I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up because it's kind of subtle. But I went in and I took some of the Vallejo chalk white and kind of dry brushed it on different areas of the concrete to kind of give it a lighter look, like this concrete's fading a little bit. Again, I can see it by eye. I don't know if the camera is going to pick it up. And then I did a couple weathering spots here and there. So there's a little bit of the blue-gray wash coming down, just a slight amount. A little bit down here at the bottom. Again, not a whole lot. There's a spot over there that I nicked. Must have been when I was working on it. It looked like, yeah, it kind of looks like a little rust spot. So I went ahead and just put a little bit of rust running down there. And again, I don't know if it's going to pick up. It's right above that light there to the left. I also did dry brush with a chalk white around the vents, which really does a nice job of picking up the edges. That really looks cool when you do that. Again, it's so subtle, and probably no one's ever going to notice it. But I notice it, especially now that I've done it. I definitely can see it. It breaks the edges. It just looks really good. So I did that real quick to all the vents. So that is it. Oh, the other thing I did, when I had the lights on for the test, back in here is on the inside, I have a cleat to hold the wires down. And I could kind of see that looking through the window when the lights were on the inside. I said, you know what? What if I paint it black, and maybe it'll look like a crane on the inside. I'm not going to actually put a crane in there. Good Lord, I don't need to do that. So we'll see. And so there's one there with the cleat, and I added another one right here. Again, I had a couple scrap pieces of 3/8 with the square dowel. I just cut them up, and I know now you can't see it because you need light on the inside. So I don't know. I'm not going to worry about it. I did it. I threw it in there. We'll see how it looks over on the layout when it goes in. But that is the long section, 4-story section. Next time you see it, it's going to be on the layout. Alright, final segment. I've got to get this posted. So here it is. It's ready to go. Now there's a couple other things you'll notice on here. I have the sign in the front. I have the water tower. I'm going to cover those later. I did do segments on those. They're the 2 rabbit holes I went into. I'm not going to cover them now. Just next segment. So this is pretty much ready to go. Now that I got everything ready, the water tower is just sitting there. I can place it when I get this over. So this is going to get ready to be taken over. I have to drill the holes for the lights. And then this is going to go over and get set in. And then what I'll do, pardon me, a little pan here. And I realize I have my vacuum cleaner in the way, but don't mind me. And then this long segment will go in as well. So that's the one that's going to go in, come in at a slight little angle, and get set back, and hopefully everything fits. So, all right. So the next segment, which is well underway. Well, I got one segment coming on the high bay. That's actually nearly done, and then we'll show the installation of the 5-story and this long portion here over on the layout. So stay tuned. More to come. If you're actually watching this whole darn video, thank you very much. You're certainly a trooper. But it was a lot of work. I mean, this was a lot of work. But I'm getting there. Really actually getting this thing done, which is kind of amazing to me. So, all right, stay tuned. More segments coming. No fancy pictures, nothing else. I'm just going to end this video. It's been long enough, and we'll do some fancy schmancy stuff when I get the whole thing done. But more coming very, very soon. Thanks for watching.